This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
Hospital CEOs urged to submit annual reports. New Pogera mine consultation meeting commences. And ADF trained PNGDF on disaster management. A very good evening. This is National EMTV News. I'm Godwin Eki. Thank you for joining us. A 2-day forum for 21 provincial health authorities board members with the chief executive officers commenced today at the Holiday Inn Hotel in Port Moresby with the launching of the Monitoring and Evaluation Strategic Plan for the National Health Plan 2021 to 2030. Present to launch the plan was Minister for Health, Dr. Lino Tom.
In 2021, December 7th, and it was accompanied by the National Health Service.
The strategic plan was officially launched by the Minister for Health, Dr. Lino Tom, and the Health Secretary, Dr. Osborne Liko.
2021-2030.
The strategic plan includes 200 indicators where the provincial health authorities chair and chief executive officers were challenged by the health minister to be competent and further highlighted the details in the plan.
Indicators covering programs such as non-communicable diseases, mental health, oral health, ophthalmology, surgery, blood banks, and disability are now being measured for the first time. This is a milestone. We have one integrated measurement framework that is representative of the health sector and also aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals and universal health coverage.
He stressed that PNG is the first country to adopt the Regional World Health Organization Data Management Competency Framework, and this is something they should be proud of.
We are the first country to adopt the Regional WHO Data Management Competency Framework, and we should be proud that we are showing other countries how to work towards sustainable capacity building of our health information workforce.
Dr. Lino requested other partners to support PHAs in understanding and implementing the guidelines indicated in the plan.
NDOH programs, hospitals, PHAs will be responsible for reporting the required indicators, and we are looking to partner to our partners and support them in doing so. The Performance Monitoring and Research Branch of the National Department of Health will coordinate reporting of the indicators in various communication products. It will also help the required national guidance and tools to implement the M&E strategic plan. The team has therefore been working on a PHA M&E toolkit, which we are launching today.
This forum is expected to end tomorrow with discussions on recent amendments to the PHA Act 2007, medical supplies reform and progress with PHA board appointments, implementation of the IT policy and challenges faced with other updates in PHAs. Estagane, National EMTV News.
Minister for Health Dr. Lino Tom today challenged the provincial health authorities to submit their annual reports. He stated that among the 21 provinces, only 7 PHAs have submitted their annual reports, and this is a delay for him to present his reports in Parliament.
Having good board members in provincial health authorities is vital. Therefore, Dr. Lino, as a health minister, says one of his strategy is to screen board members carefully so that they can have good board members.
The importance of having good boards can never be underestimated and never understated. So one of the first things I've done as health minister is to make sure that we identify and screen board members carefully so that we can have good, competent boards in place. Because we realize the importance of good, competent boards. What that means is that they can keep and toe the CEOs in line. Because when you give so much responsibility, financial responsibility, and power to a single person, that can be abused. And we've seen so many cases of abuse in this country. We've started doing audits of PHAs where we've received complaints of mismanagement and misappropriation, and we've started with, obviously I have to start with my own province.
Dr. Lino said he cannot present his report as a health minister in the parliament due to PHA's failure in submitting their quarterly and annual reports.
Now, it is my fiduciary responsibility to present an annual statement in parliament. And I can't do that now because the rest of you haven't submitted your annual statements. What we would require is for PHAs to submit your quarterly reports to your board, to your provincial governments, and to the secretary and to my office. Now that's your responsibility, and I want to also remind the boards. The board we have, or a governance board, what that means is that every quarter you have to demand your CEOs to submit the reports.
He says PHA CEOs will be removed from the office if they don't perform their duties well, as the government wants to see transparency and accountability.
I think we shouldn't allow a CEO who doesn't submit reports to be in office. One of the reasons we see in a country where we are limited by resources, we want to see resources being used in the right way. Now, I'm under pressure from the government to present my annual statement. I can't present my annual statement when only 7 PHAs have submitted their reports. We have a big problem on our hands, and we can't come and just beat and do things when our indices as a nation in the South Pacific is one of the lowest when it comes to health services.
Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
The recommended ratio for doctors in a country is 1 doctor for 1,000 people. However, Health Minister Dr. Lino Tom said in PNG there are only 640 doctors, and this will take years to fill the gap with the help of information and communication technology.
In saying that, we also are bringing this ICT reform because we realize that in our country, the number of health workers, we have about 640 doctors with a ratio of about 1 to 20,000, 1 doctor to 20,000 people. As you all know, the WHO recommended ratio is 1 to 1,000, and we can't bridge that gap within in the medium term, so to speak. It will take us, they say, to train a health worker, it takes 10 years to fill that gap. And to have that done, I think we, with the support of the health secretary and other sectors, we're trying to address it in so many other ways, but we feel that one of the platforms we can use to fill in that gap is through the use of ICT.
In other news, the Porgera Mining Project Community Development Agreement, or CDA, consultations commenced yesterday in Alatau, Milne Bay Province. The consultations follow on from the Development Forum, which convened by the Minister Se Anopala on August 22, 2023 in Wabeg, Enga Province.
Minister for Mining Sir Anopala, Vice Minister for Mining James Donald, and the Vice Minister assisting the Prime Minister Jimmy Maladina arrived at the meeting venue to a rousing welcome by tapioca dancers from the Trobriand Islands. The ministers were accompanied by their departmental heads, including Acting Managing Director for the Mineral Resources Authority, Jerry Gary, the Secretary for Department of Mineral Policy and Geohazards Management, Harry Corre, Chairman of the SNT, Dairi Vele, and the State Solicitor, Daniel Rolpaga Rea. Between 200 to 250 landowners and impacted communities attended the meeting, which is expected to go on for a week. During the official opening of the consultations, Minister Pala urged the landowners, impacted communities, and the state team to have an open, fair, and sincere discussion. He told the landowners that the consultation is an opportunity for them to openly discuss their development aspirations with the government and the developer, New Porgera Limited. The acting managing director for the Mineral Resources Authority, Jerry Gary, told the stakeholders that the CDA was an important process in terms of benefits negotiation and distribution. New Pogera Limited and Barrick New Guinea are represented by Chad Collin, New Pogera Limited's General Manager, and Karo Lelai, Barrick New Guinea's Country Manager, respectively. Mr. Collins said New Pogera Limited wanted to restart the mine as soon as possible, advising that they had begun recruiting employees to help the company prepare to restart the mine. He added that the company has begun servicing equipment and machinery in the processing plant and also purchased new ones. Natasha Ovoy, National EMTV News.
The exercise Long Reach 2023, spearheaded by the Australian Defence Force, was officially opened today at the Kumul Leadership Institute in PNG Defence Force headquarters at Murray Barracks. The exercise Long Reach meeting has commenced today and will end on Friday, the 7th of this month.
The exercise Long Reach is a humanitarian aid and disaster relief bilateral exercise which aims to test the South Pacific Defense Ministers Meeting HADR standard operating procedures.
I hereby declare Long Reach open.
The first regional exercise Long Reach was held in Fiji in 2022, where the meeting stressed on the importance of proactive planning and preparation in times of providing disaster and relief assistance. For this year, exercise Long Reach takes on even greater significance to delve deeper into refining the exercise Long Reach strategies and approaches. Australian Defence Force Major General Scott Winter explains the purpose of this exercise.
Long Reach is an opportunity for the militaries of the Pacific to come together, share our experiences in disaster relief, and to learn how we can do things better into the future. Really importantly, it's the way in which we make sure that we act together as one Pacific family.
PNGDF Acting Commodore Philip Polewara said the world is changing and we need to embrace climate change.
The world will still be driven by fossil fuel. That's a danger, but we'll all have to live and survive. Our economy is driven by fossil fuel for the next, I don't know, what the experts say, Wall Street say, the hedge funds say, for the next maybe 10 to 20 years. The world is driven, that's the reality, driven by fossil fuel, our economies. And we all can, testify to that, to our economies. I think it will be maybe 2050, some of us will not be here, then the world can be fully run by green energy. That's the reality. The forest that we look at, like the Amazon, are these forests going to be here forever? Is this forest doing enough?
Hence, the exercise Long Reach is introduced to assist us tackle climate change issues in the country. Commodore Polewara thanked the Australian Defence Force for their tremendous support towards PNG in times of disaster. Gladys Skilla, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. We'll bring you more stories after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. Staff of Western Highlands Provincial Health Department have been encouraged to work closely with the Provincial Health Authority Board. That is from the Health Minister Dr. Lino Tom in his message relayed by Ms. Angus Poyong, Executive Manager, Strategic Policy, National Department of Health.
She also added that the similar cooperation was expected in all provincial health authorities throughout the country. Hence, it was important that all staff were well versed with the Provincial Health Authority Act so that they know their roles and functions.
And so he requires the board to work very closely with the provincial administration and with the governor. All the development initiatives, all the health initiatives, all the programs, the PHA Act is very clear. And we will take you through the PHA Act as soon as we finish with this program. So all the board members are encouraged to, and also We will encourage the management of the Western Highlands PHA, the staffs of Western Highlands PHA, the senior managers, to sit in for the board induction. So what we are telling the board and inducting the board, the staffs have to be on the same page.
The newly sworn-in board members, including senior staff of Western Highlands Province Health Department, were introduced to the Provincial Health Authority Act over the weekend.
And so he has invested a lot of his time, personal time as well, having a lot of discussions with the governors of the province to ensure that the caliber of people that are coming to the board are of good standing. And so you can see from the representation that you currently saw and witnessed being sworn in that he's very adamant and wants to see a functioning board in all the PHAs, as I've said earlier on.
Natasha Ovoy, National EMTV News.
Police in Central Province has a change in command where the outgoing Provincial Police Commander Superintendent John Midi officially handed over the responsibilities to the newly appointed PPC for Central, Chief Inspector Laimo Asi, at the Central Provincial Police Headquarters at Gordon's today.
In a welcome parade hosted today at the Central Provincial Police Headquarters at Gordon's, Port Moresby, the newly appointed Provincial Police Commander, Chief Inspector Laimo Asi, farewelled the outgoing PPC Central, Superintendent John Midi. As the outgoing PPC for Central, Superintendent John Midi has expressed his appreciation to the dedicated men and women of the Central Province Police Force who have worked alongside him during the challenging times. He also thanks the stakeholders for their assistance. The newly appointed PPC for Central, Chief Inspector Laimo Asi, thanked the Superintendent John Midi for taking up the leadership role for the last 4 years. He added that the leadership of Superintendent Midi has achieved some remarkable things like the restructure of the command and pooling and audit of the manpower strength. Chief Inspector Laimo Asi acknowledged the work Superintendent Midi has done and said to continue from where he left. The handover takeover parade has done in the presence of Assistant Commissioner and Commander of Police in NCD and Central, Anthony Wagambi Jr. Assistant Commissioner Wagambi Jr. welcomes the newly appointed PPC, however, expressed his concern for Central Province, unlike other provinces, does not have a proper and basic infrastructure facilities to conduct policing duties in the province. Louis Maingu, National EMTV News.
Issues concerning police force have been raised by Assistant Police Commissioner Anthony Wagambi Jr. and the newly appointed Central Provincial Police Commander Laimo Asi regarding the lack of essential infrastructure for police in Central Province.
Lack of basic infrastructure for policing in rural areas in Papua New Guinea has led to rise in crime rates and left communities vulnerable. The newly appointed PPC for Central Province, Chief Inspector Laimo Asi, highlighted the need for Central Province police officers to operate within Central Province rather than Port Moresby due to the rise of criminal activities in the province.
The police in accommodations and police stations, so that policemen live and work at the station level. Currently, the policemen are in NCD. Most of them, maybe about 70% of it. And 30% are within the rural areas. And to serve the people, it doesn't work out.
Assistant Police Commissioner and Commander for NCD and Central Police, Anthony Wagambi Jr. also said similar concern regarding the essential infrastructure for police in Central Province.
And in most areas of Central Province, so it needs mainly it's whole of government approach and with our political leadership as well to push forward and have more infrastructure in the province so that we don't have a lot of members, our police personnel based out of NCD. It's because of housing issues, they are based out of the NCD, the majority of them, and they have to travel out to attend to incidences, and that takes a lot of time. When there's something serious happens, we can't waste time for police to travel out. And once they're traveling, they're also endangering themselves too because they're responding to an emergency and they may get involved in a vehicle accident or so forth, or cause accident to somebody else. So
ACP Wagambi Jr. appealed to the responsible parties to look into the police issues before the Connect PNG project link other provinces with Central Province.
if you look along Iritano Highway, we're talking about Connect PNG, and with the highway opening up, with the government's plan to open up the highway for people from other provinces to travel in, we are going to have a lot of activity along that highway. So we need proper highway patrol base, more police base there before that happens. Not after, but before.
Assistant Police Commissioner Wagambi Jr. said there is need for proactive approach. Louis Maingu, National EMTV News.
Newly appointed Central Provincial Police Commander Chief Inspector Laimo Asi expressed his thoughts on the current state of the education system in the province.
And I've been appointed as a board member for a couple of secondary schools in Sogeri and Laloki. And the whole idea is I want all the community leaders, especially parents and the other stakeholders, to work together to, drive the idea of education to the schools, primary schools, or start from the elementary school, primary schools, high schools, and secondary schools, making sure that Central Province could be assisted by, way of elevating some of the more students going into tertiary institutions rather than completing the grade 12 when everybody goes out.
And now looking at the Nest Fund market report, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.2770 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, Yokina was buying $0.2695 $0.4145 Australian dollars, $0.2421 euro, and 39.13 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York closed, gold is trading lower, coffee closed lower, cocoa closed lower, copra closed lower, palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading lower, and copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the ASX 200 is trading lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading lower. National EMTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby partly cloudy with possible drizzles and windy. Daru partly cloudy with cool night. Kerema partly cloudy with light drizzles. Halatau patchy rain overnight and cloudy. Popondetta partly cloudy. In the Mamase region, Ley partly cloudy. Medang partly cloudy with morning drizzles. Wewak mostly fine. Vanimo partly cloudy with possible morning showers. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau cloudy with overnight showers and possible thunderstorm. Kavieng partly cloudy with brief showers. Kokopo and Rabaul cloudy periods with few overnight showers. Kimbe partly cloudy with possible morning brief showers. Buka cloudy with few overnight showers and possible thunderstorm. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen partly cloudy with patchy rain, then morning fog. Goroka and Kundiawa partly cloudy with light drizzles, then morning fog. Mendi and Wabeg patchy rain drizzles, then morning fog. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border to Daru to Kiwai Islands, to Kerema, to Yule Island, to Port Moresby, to Hood Point, to Samurai Islands, seas 2 to 3 meters. Waters of Samurai Island to Cape Vogel and eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, seas 1.5 to 2 meters. Waters of Cape Vogel to Ewan Gulf to Finschhafen, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Finschhafen through Vitis Dampier Straits to CRC and Long Island to Karkar and Manam Islands, seas 2 to 3.5 meters. Waters of west of Long Island to Wewak to Vanimo and northern PNG Indonesian border, seas 1.5 to 2 meters, rising to 2.5 meters. Waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas 2 to 2.5 meters. Waters of New Britain to New Ireland and Bougainville sees 1.5 to 2 meters, rising to 3 meters. Looking at the ocean forecast, Coral Sea sees rough southeast winds of 25 to 33 knots. Solomon Sea sees moderate southeast winds of 15 to 20 knots. Bismarck Sea sees moderate to rough southeast winds of 20 to 33 knots. And Pacific Ocean sees moderate southeast winds of 15 to 25 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Tuesday, the 5th of September 2023. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Good night.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.